A serial rapist was finally nabbed by the police, ending his 2-year reign of terror. He has raped at least 8 women and only 5 have opened rape cases against him. In this episode, we bring you a chilling interview with this hardened rapist.
Once the gun was shown, then the girls would cooperate. They would tell me, okay, you can do what you want to do.
Sabe sesihlangana naye umsolwa ngaso leso sikhathi wafika wamkhomba ngempela uvictim ukuthi uyena.
I beg any of my victims and all my victims to forgive me from their hearts.
Sydenham and Reservoir Hills are suburbs west of central Durban. Here, young women have suffered the trauma of being terrorized by a man whose modus operandi was to force them to get into his car at gunpoint. He would take them to secluded areas where he would rape them without a condom. After raping them, he would then demand oral sex and sometimes even take videos and pictures of them.
What ndizokwenza njengoba isisho ngathi naye ungizokwenza njengoba usisho wathi nake isibhamu ngasibeka ngathi mina ungasibeka ngizokwenza njengoba usisho.
This woman is one of 5 known victims who are still dealing with the trauma of being raped by the perpetrator. As with all his victims, he forced her to get into his car at gunpoint after he found her waiting for a bus on her way to work. After driving for just a few minutes, he stopped the car. This was the beginning of her nightmare. He attempted to rape her in broad daylight. After her, he demanded oral sex.
Ndaye ndamcenga ke mina ke ngosesi lapho kulento ngamtshela ukuthi mina ngicela andiyeke ndinengane encane hayi ngicela angayenzi okwangoku lento afuna uyenza wathi yena ke uyidinga njengamanje lento izokwenzeka njengamanje hayi ngelinye ilanga hayi xa kuthanda mina ngesikhathi ukuthanda yena.
She says after the incident, he dropped her off near a clinic in Reservoir Hills and told her to face the trees and not look at his car. When he drove off, she screamed. She says cars were passing her by, but none of them stopped to assist her. The experience has left her traumatized.
Oh, lento ayisenzekile ingihlukumezeke kakhulu. Ngihlukumezeke kakhulu ngoba kwakunzima nokuthi ngibalise ukuthi kahle kahle kwenzakaleni. Yangihlukumeza kakhulu lanto. Yangihlukumeza nyani. Kawuba ndangizisola kwami ukuthi mhlambe ngimuntu wrong ndingazi nami kanjani ukuthi ngimuntu wrong ngoba anayi ukuzulu ukuthi lo muntu ebebamba mina ebenibamba ngoba bengithini andimazi ekseni nje ngabo 22 ukuthi elengisusaphi andimazi azangibamba so iyo nje into eyayindistressa kakhulu.
The perpetrator also approached unemployed women and pretended to be looking for a domestic worker, but after they had gotten into his car, he would reveal his sinister plan.
Mina ngavuma ila waqala ukungishaya. Wangishaya kuqala ngesibhamu ngemuva. Ngangayenzi futhi bese ngiphahlela ngeboots la.
She says after raping her, he demanded oral sex. When she refused, he became infuriated.
Ngathi no, angiwazi nje totally. Wesethi usho ukuthi angifuni. Wathi kumina lento izoba isecret yami noma angibulali na. Ngathi izoba isecret. Wathi ngiyakubona wena nale ndlela unikani ngayo uzohamba uyikhuluma lento le. Mina ngisengithi ke hayi ngoba the time esho kanjani wesengibambe ngevest ngibona ukuthi ngempela ufuna ukwenza lento efuna ukuyenza ngami.
She says he eventually let her go, and the next day she went to Sydenham police station to report the incident.
Ngakusasa ke uma wasethi hamba e-police station umngane wakhe wathi bekumele ibe uye izolo e-police station kahle kahle. Uma wasethi hamba e-police station ngaye e-police station ngavula icala. Manje ngiqoda ke ilanga ngahambiswa esibhedlela ke.
Although rape is grossly underreported by victims, South Africa's crime statistics suggest it is at war with its women and children. Between April and June 2022, 9,516 rape cases were opened with the SAPS. Detective Mzila handles rape cases almost daily. He says it is almost difficult to locate victims because they do not want to open cases against their perpetrators.
Fully caseless now, for the first time. Angaze ngingabe kube lula ukuhlangana no victim. Most of the time my cases afana nalawa uba ne challenge kuyo victim. Ubavusela amanxeba uvele lo muntu uzophuma noma usungathi uboshiwe vele uzophuma lo muntu kuba nalezo zinto ama questions of which ke isikhathi sikusona manje ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi umthetho uyibonakale ungekho fair o victim. So kule case kwaba it's one of engibiza ngithi kuyaba nenhlanhla because o victim bakhona I think indlela abehlukumezeke ngakhona bekunabo bayidinga closure yokuthi you know what kufanele lo muntu sathi angatholakala ngelinye ilanga ngazi ukuthi wayenzelana into ebuhlungu ngala kimi.
Mzila says many victims feel let down by the police.
Now when uyaqhamuka kwiphoyisa into eyenzekile mhlambe 2 years mhlambe 3 months asazi seyidlulisile then uyamvusela ke manje lento ukuthi na nangu lo muntu usetholakele. Abanye abavictim bayabuza ukuthi why manje ingoba userepay bani osekudala ukuthi ngisukume namaphoyisa ukuthi aboshwe because mina ngisukumanga ngitholanga. Failing to understand bona ukuthi it's not easy njengoba besuke bengamazi naye uvictim umuntu omhlukumezile. How much more thina as amaphoyisa uzoba difficult ngendlela esimanga ukuthi ngizothi khona umuntu obehamba endaweni ethize wabanjwa umuntu othize uthole mhlawumbe ukuthi njengalona ulomsolo le case ubehamba ngemoto even wena victim uhluleke ukuthatha nje i-registration number yemoto. So kuba nalezo zinto but bona bayazi ukuthi once report emaphoyiseni umsebenzi wamaphoyisa ukuthi ambe azagcine etholile ubulungiswa benkulungiswa.
The perpetrator started his raping spree in Durban just before the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020. His victim profile was ordinary, mostly destitute women. This is his youngest victim, only 16 years old. He forced her into his car at gunpoint, ordered her to take off her clothes, raped her, and insisted on taking her home.
Akwamphilitsa ka isikamphilitsa ke tlitsamela ka moto ke lemela taxi a re se le bosibe akwamphilitsa ha ke fihla ka fihla mpotsa gore ke dula kae ka be ke mo supisa mo iseng hwana teng eba a fihla pele ke thoka ka kolong a fihla ka ke mo fa nomoro ya ka be ke ha ke na phone a ba hlisa sethunya hape re nna ntse ke bua le thetsi eba ke a fihla ke ngola nomoro ke sa itsebeleng.
She says before he let her go, he took pictures of her and instructed her to smile for the camera.
For many addicts who document their acts, remember, performing the act or even watching himself performing the act is also achieving that fix, especially when he cannot get a physical victim. So watching himself is also achieving a fix for him. So it plays a certain role for him.
Nozibusiso Nyawose, a clinical psychologist at the Durban Medical Center, describes the perpetrator as someone suffering from sexual addiction.
When we look at this case, this is a classical case of compulsive sexual behavior disorder. Compulsive sexual behavior disorder is simply sexual addiction. This is the compulsive need to perform sexual acts in order to achieve a kind of fix. So the same way in which an alcohol-dependent person will achieve the fix when they drink alcohol, or the same way in which a drug addict will get from drugs. So there's a sexual desires, thoughts become the main focus of life, and you find ukuthi the other important components of life are completely ignored. For example, the social components sometimes, academic, occupational, and the adaptive functioning, because now the main focus of attention is the sexual addiction.
She says when she got home, she informed her family about the rape.
Ke fihla ka be ke jwetsa ausi ka nako e etseng a ba nkisa house motho ausi mongwe re dulang le ena mono wa Mosotho ka fihla ka mo jwetse ke le community a ba nkisa le motho nye mongwe le community mongwe wa ntate a fihla ga go requesta Uber ya ba nene o fihla nkisa mapolisi ha re fihla mapolisi ga be ya fihla re tshwana ho etseng.
Her case was the last of the 5 to be reported, and it was handed over to the Ntuzuma Family Violence Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit. Detective Sergeant Mkhize initially investigated the case. When he realized that there was a serial rapist on the loose in the Sydenham and Reservoir Hills area, he roped in a seasoned detective, Sergeant Mzila, who has convicted a number of serial rapists.
Seluvuliwe icala ngoba uvictim wayengekho familiar with i-area yaseSydney. Sasuka lapho same time station saqala kwi-scene of crime. Wafika wangikhombisa umuzi engakubona kuyona i-scene of crime. Ngabona ukuthi la emdlungulele khona kunama-CCTV camera kulowo muzi lowo. Ngoba wapaka imoto yakhe umsolwa lo phambi kwegarage kanti kunecamera efese direct kubona lapha afika amdlungulela khona. Kuyona ke futhi scene of crime ngase ngithola nobufakazi tissue athi uvictim wayisula ngayo accused wasethi akayitshinge yena uvictim. Ngafika ngayipick up ngase ngiyamthatha kuvictim sanikela ku-district surgeon e-Eddington eThekwini eThuthuzela Care Center. La ngafika khona wabona udokotela uvictim nayo leyo evidence engayithola kwiscene yafakwa nayo kwi-crime kit, i-sexual offences kit.
The next day, Detective Mkhize went back to the scene of the crime with the 16-year-old victim.
Lapho ngafika khona ngacela umnikazi wendlu owangivumela ukuthi angikhombise i-CCTV footage ngoba yayirekhoda and yayisebenza. Kuyona ke CCTV footage engakubona kwaba yiloko ngempela ayikushilo uvictim ngoba wabalula uvictim ukuthi umsolwa wayehamba ngemoto ebomvu eyayinestick esasibhalwe for sale esinenamba yakhe yize engayibonanga ngisho neregistration indlela ayethuye ngayo uvictim. Kodwa sengiviewa i-CCTV footage ngakhona ukubona uhlobo lwemoto neregistration number yemoto. Ngabe sengiqhubeka kuphenyo ke lapho. Shuthi njoba ayishilo victim futhi kwaba njengamazwi akhe. Ngayibona i-cellphone number yakhe umsolwa eyayibhaliwe nayo imoto yayirejistwe egameni lomuntu weNdiya njengoba uvictim nawe ayishilo ukuthi yindiya.
The detectives, now in possession of the possible suspect's contact number, devised a plan to lure him to a meeting. They posed as potential buyers of the vehicle and secured a meeting with him.
Ngamfonela lowo mdabu ngapretenda engazi ukuthi ngifuna ukuthenga yona imoto yakhe yona le ayidayisa. Sabe siyaplana ke naye wathi uzobe available nesikhathi sithize. Ngaloko usuku ngabe sengihlanganisa yena ke ummangali uvictim lo sabe sesihlangana naye umsolwa ngaso leso sikhathi wafika wamkhomba ngempela uvictim ukuthi uyena. Ngafika futhi sathi masimbopha nje umsolwa masimsesha sathola sona isibhamu ngoba kukhumbula ukuthi wayemsabise wayethe uvictim usatshiswe ngayo so isibhamu. Sasithola ke isibhamu sabe sesimbopha ke umsolwa wakhe eSydney police station.
I-feeling ifike emnandi kahle. Not again as wena. but as isiphoyisa ukuthi at least sesikwazile ukumanyaza. Sine-challenge enkulu when it comes to lama cases. Ngidabuke kakhulu ngidabukele abantwana esibazalayo njengamanje. Including abami ngibatshela ukuthi nisenkingeni. Ayikho umuntu osenkingeni la njengengane ukuthi ingane ayisakwazi manje ukuthi iphume nje ihambe iyodlala. Ikhululeke. Ingathi ingane iyadlala nezinye izingane uthola ukuthi ayisabuyi intambama. Mayibuya ibuya idlulile. Sinama cases amaningi ezingane ezinye ziyalahleka ezinye itholakala seyishonile nje kuningi. Nawu akusagcina izingane ezincane nje kubantu besifazane abadala.
The 30-year-old perpetrator was arrested on the 5th of May. He made his initial court appearance at the Durban Magistrate Court on the 15th of May this year. He applied for bail, but it was opposed by Detective Mzila, who cited concerns that the accused could commit suicide. The bail application was denied. The accused agreed to an interview which was conducted inside the police cells. He confessed to raping at least 8 women. He claims that when he committed the rapes, he was high on cocaine.
It was random. When I was traveling, if I had come across somebody, I'd offer them a lift. I've given people a lift before, but it's not always led down this road. Once the gun was shown, then the girls would cooperate. They would tell me, okay, you can do what you want to do. There was a sense of guilt, but I had wrapped it up, put it in a box, and shoved that box in the corner of my brain somewhere. I'd like to think that, yes, it was because of the use and abuse of cocaine and ketamine that I had started this. The use of cocaine didn't allow me to think straight, so often when I did do cocaine, I wasn't with my partner. Just didn't, at that specific moment, it didn't really occur to me that, hey, you have a partner that you can go home to.
He says given the opportunity, he would like to ask his victims for forgiveness.
I beg any of my victims and all my victims to forgive me from their hearts, because the law, it's just time. But there'll come a day where I'm answerable to a higher power than this, and if that person hasn't forgiven me, then on Judgment Day, it's not going to be a pretty one for me. So I sincerely apologize for the way I've made you feel, the things I've done to you, the position I've put you in. But most importantly, I ask that you forgive me from your heart so that both you and I can move forward with lighter shoulders. I didn't intentionally want to do these things, but it happened, and I'm really, really sorry that it happened. If I could take back any of that, I would. But as it stands, I can't. All I can do is beg of your forgiveness.
You cannot have a sincere apology when you do not have insight into the actions that you do, when you don't have the consequences, when you don't understand the consequences and the ramifications of your actions, and you still apologize. That's not a sincere apology. A sincere apology comes when you have knowledge and awareness to see what this behavior has done, not only to yourself, but to others. right? And the only way for a person or an addict to have the insight is if they receive psychosocial rehabilitation. So after psychosocial rehabilitation, it doesn't necessarily mean ukuthi umuntu uzoba naye insight. But I think ukuthi ukumane apologize nje esithubeni, he may not have that insight and it may not be a sincere apology.
The perpetrator is currently remanded in custody pending his next court appearance. His victims continue their journey of healing.
Uba ebelwazi yena uxolo yena ube belwazi uxolo ngewangixolela ngela xesha ndandikhala ngisithi nengane encane andiboni uba ungumuntu yena olwaziyo uxolo so nam angeke ndikwazi mina ukumxolela ndahlukumezeka kakhulu kungona ndiva ubungconywana ngesikhathi asejele ngoba ndiyazi ukuthi hayi akekho
ne ke sa bone ka ke motho a tsubileng lotho ene ntse le motho a right tjena fela nna ka ntwa ke mo tshwarele ntho e ntseng nna e bohloko angizwa le nto ukuthi ufuna ukuxolisa mina ngithe ahlale ejele impilo yakhe yonke lo muntu wasihlukumeza abuhlungu impilo yakhe yonke ngoba lo muntu waphuma ejele into yokuqala azoyenza mehlangana nathi uzoyenza uzosibulala kuyimanje nje asisebenze isihleli umuntu mecabanga ukuhamba ereserve ayofuna umsebenzi uba ne-stress ngoba ngagcina i-reserve that day angisakwazi ukuhamba ngiyofuna umsebenzi ngoba lo muntu yilo wangenzela le nto le